Alright, hello again. This time we'll be playing the big old map, the 2x2K, so let's actually continue that. For those of you not quite familiar, we have a 2x2K map with about 1,500 towns, short of 5,500 industries, and the overall aim is to eventually connect everything, i.e. every town, every industry that produces stuff. And admittedly, this being episode 50 odd, we are making limited progress. But it's actually a very large map. So what I'm generally doing nowadays when playing on this map is that I'm building these longitudinal rails and then basically connecting gem lines onto that. So let's just continue. For those of you who have been watching my activities, I've actually finally gotten around to making a very useful change in the game code. So obviously OTTD being open source and stuff, you can modify the game code and build it yourself. And now I finally can just press a button and let all vehicles in a depot be on their way. And by pressing a button, I actually mean a keyboard button. So you'll see this very quickly. You know what? This is just bugging me. So if I put a depot in a few places, well, you'll notice that my scrolling is obscurely smooth, which is because, try not to laugh, I clean my ball, which is because I'm on a trackball, which if it doesn't mean much to you, it's one of those slightly ancient bits of tech where there's a ball in the mouse and it's on the top. And like mice with physical balls, it collects gunk. And when it gets gunk up, yeah, hi. I almost definitely don't get. Oh, that one I care about. That's actually something I've been very curious about. What on earth is that? Okay, we'll have a look at the cargo train in a moment. Anyway, so basically, track balls have a tendency to get icky. So if I now clone this and lo and behold, pressed S, which you can't see, but you can see that I haven't been playing around here. So, okay, so I've been very curious about that particular train that just crowded up. So I just don't know which template we're using. Zero, this one. So 100k per hour, 1800. Go away. And cargo. So I want this, and then we'll take this. So that's 140k per hour. This is not going to work, is it? No, it's no good. So I was curious because it's been flagged as a candidate for interesting stuff, but I gain, like, I lose half of this stuff basically, and it's a bit faster, but fear not. So this can do alcohol, chemicals, engineering supplies, foreign supplies, fish, food. Okay, so I don't immediately care about the people part, like engineering supplies, for example. Template 11. So anything that uses this is not really going to work because new template. Let's just say engineering supplies. There should only be one. I think I said 180. It has to be too long. I mean, 2 counts long. So yeah, I'm still not happy with that. Well, so food is template 18. Again, it replaces this, so no good. Goods we've established, no good. Scrap template 7 and 8. It's probably going to be the same stuff. It doesn't matter. So 520 tons. Oopsie. And I can't even do scrap metal. Why? Because I'm an idiot. So chemicals we haven't really done. Supplies. Milk maybe, but template 21. Almost certainly not going to work. 25,000 liters at 160k. That's definitely not going to fly because there's no way we can do this better. Did you? Nah, no. Okay. Well, bummer. I was kind of having hopes for that. Like, unless there's some very serious advantage to that train, it's not really what we're after. Right. I actually need to connect these up. So I need to do a better job with this whole stuff. To the point that I'm tempted to. Oh no. Okay. So in my other game, it's I don't know if you've been watching me playing around with the Waterworld thing. If not, there's another playlist where I'm doing a smaller map, but basically it's the same overarching idea, and it's a 1K map. As in a 1K by 1K, but six. But I'm only allowed to use ships, and it's more of an island map sort of thing. And I've kind of gotten to the point where I actually limitedly care about um what so that what? Oh yeah, there's a train. Haha, very funny. Like because cargo distribution is on, it's pretty much impossible to just satisfy the game's needs on that. It's just impossible, or near impossible anyway. I want that. Then they can switch it around if they want. And it's not really an aim, especially with our like 5,000 other industries. I think I'll probably either die of old age or otherwise hang myself by the end of this. So like if we have a look at this, like I know there are like 20,000 units of that stuff, but only 7,000 other people. And then I know this is huge because it's not being handled. So we'll have to do up all of these at some point, but I'm trying to make sure that stuff doesn't. Lithuanian Airways. E. In case you haven't been following, the reason why I'm totally not paying attention to almost any of these is because, as you will have seen on the previous 168, I should know that, 70. It's an EMU actually, but we're doing maglavs. I think we've killed off metros. So basically, railway carriages are speed limited. So if you look at available trains, again, the only thing that's not speed limited is multiple cargo units, but the only thing you have is this, nothing else. Like um, I've read up on the well, the README, and that's the only thing we have. But then everything else is speed limited, and that's all. And then Transrapid actually doesn't quite work because for goods or milk or other things, because actually Transrapid itself is bound to people. So I think there will be other Transrapids, but I also think they will be the same thing. And I was saying in an earlier episode when I replaced the actually very low number of passenger train lines to maglevs that, well, F me, because it's very much a pain in the backside to deal with that. And so, here's a hint for any crazy person who might want to follow suit of what I'm up to. Just make sure that you do your trains at the end. Otherwise, you're going to have an awful lot of headaches replacing them with maglevs. Like, I think it took me 3 episodes or 4, which is obviously to say that was that many hours. Okay, we have a little too many stops here, but hey ho. And again, if you haven't been watching, there are a few tips and tricks that you've seen bits of it. Like I have group trains and template replacements and stuff. And some of it, like this is obviously not doing a decent job. So if I do shared orders and not timetable occupancy, like this should not be 10 long. This should not be 10 long. It probably should be 5 long. And then because it's templated, it will automatically just change to replace 3 and then just does it. We have the same for terms, more or less. I mean, I don't always do a good job. I usually wait until there are like 100 odd, because it's not that exciting. This is, it's not a town. Then early on the game, I used to like connect these dots and those dots, but I don't know. I really want to bother. Like, it's not a strict game requirement. And it's also probably pretty stupid of me because I'm filling up the map. Which you might think, well, what's wrong with that? You'll notice I haven't really bothered much with industries yet. And a lot of that is going to be on trains. And if you are following the ship world, water world thing, there's it's not so much that there's money to be made, but if you have this, like you don't want to connect these too much because you don't make money on it to the point that you're losing. But equivalently, I don't want to spend my life taking stuff far, far away. And if you were watching the very early parts of this, the map generation has a bug. So if you look at like steel mills, you see the issue. It's not just steel mills. So all the mines from here have to be hooked on there, but that's almost 1,000 towers off, about 700. Yeah, I've not really seen that before. I mean, I know it's been there, I just don't use it. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do. I um, why are you people? So has a lot fewer people. 168. No. Again, 20% speed at the loss of significant peopleage. Okay. Just I did that. Peopleage. I'm making up new words. Pie scam. I said this before, town names are more than just a little obscure. What did I do there? There's one here. Okay, fine. So just, yeah. I don't think we need that, but alas. Obviously, hotels have to be included. It's just a stupid idea of me. Not the hotels, but having a loop here when actually it should be there. Okay. One sec. Okay, I'm here. Well, strictly speaking, this wasn't necessary because the definition of a town being connected is that they basically have an outgoing number of passengers. So yeah, when we hit next month, the expectation is that, which is almost now, the expectation is that this number goes up to something higher than 0.1. I mean, but that is actually it appears to be a hotel here. You know what? That's your aim in life. The Rick and Morty episode, I can't quote it, but there's a conversation in there where Rick just creates one of his many gadgets, and then the first question is, "What's the meaning of my life?" And then Rick just says something dreadfully disheartening. It's like, yep, that's you. Not that we need tubular bridges for trams, but hey ho. Okay, I kind of want to. I barely go away. Yeah, there's a station there, so we'll have to make a few adjustments here. So I'm aiming at. There's also a hotel there. Fine, makes my life less weird, I guess. Is to make sure that we do that. Just want to make sure they can kind of switch it around. Okay, this has become a little more complex than I had wanted, but fine. You can stop there and you can do your thing. Fine. Okay. So 5 is depot in case you're not familiar. 6 is station. Passenger station. I'm just going to do a bunch of things here. So yeah, most of all a station. Good to meet Lord. And Spatchcock Pony. Well, that's kind of fine. And this one's going to be bigger because it directly hooks into a train station. And then put down hotel, town, just make sure they can switch to. Where's the next town? Very far. Well, such is life. Also, I think these ones do like 120k per hour, which actually I know now that there's some analytics on the channel, I know that proportionately most of the viewers are Americans. So while I should probably entertain the idea of switching to Imperial, but you'll just casually have to excuse me, and largely because I don't think it matters. Like either 120k per hour is give or take 70 miles odd. But more to the point that okay, well I'm wrong, 90k, so that's what 50 miles odd. But it's more that by term standards in OTTD, they're relatively fast. And again, because we're not actually playing for money per se, a lot of this is fluff. Bunny fluff. Oops. See, I can't bridge over these. It's really weird because you can now bridge over stations. I don't think you can bridge over these. They can turn around there. Like going back to the topic of imperial versus whatever it's called, metric. It's just an indicator. One thing I'm casually curious about, if I pick, well, yeah, it's I think those are the engineering sample planes. See, my problem was this is not what I wanted, but okay, available aircraft engineering. Keep saying engineering samples. Um, cargo capacity per um. So we were using the Lockheed. So this is almost 200K per year, and it does a fair number of. Tempted to, but it's faster. Like that's the thing. Um, one thing I'm not familiar with. Okay, like if I just say running cost, the HC8 still very slow, and it's about 90K. You know what? I don't particularly care. Which kind of yeah, kind of. Mm, yeah. Also, I mean, this is okay, but this is very old and icky. So I'll switch my music because it's um, not what I want. Okay, fine. So what I was actually going there for to the airplanes was to check if there are any decent like light planes. Don't think I'll need that, but fine. Because I'm kind of trying to think ahead how to do moving industrial items. Be cool when we get there. Again, like, obviously I'm not going to fly these, but I have to think about how to get around because I think I'll just be using a lot of trucks. The other thing I have said a number of times that I had patched the game's code earlier on to allow for a higher limit of vehicles. So my upper limit is 65k per type of vehicle, which especially for road vehicles, we might come near. We might come near. Like we're in 2000 odd, almost 3k as you see it. And we are absolutely nowhere near making a dent on game like station count or place count. Now we have a higher number of that's a small, large, large. Most of these are going to be, well, solid. I think most of them are actually medium. Doesn't make an awful lot of difference. It's more they connect things, and even if they end up being large, so what I tend to do is average order occupancy and then have a look at this stuff like, that 78, like these are in the 70s, I could bump them into medium and they get auto replaced. Same here, that can go into large. Doesn't matter much, but yeah, fine. Maybe we could bump these. I just said go and okay, S doesn't apply. I haven't coded it. Large. Still all over the place. Yeah, fine, whatever. Okay, that's kind of sorted. There's a turnaround. Fine. I had a look in a previous episode that we have about 900 odd hotels. So out of the 5,500 odd industries, there are 900 hotels, or there are 900 that are hotels. And because I'm trying to connect those as I go along with this whole passenger thing, my hope is that we're kind of killing two birds with a stone. Before someone comes in saying that's non-PC, I shall bludgeon you. The other funny thing is now that I have an analytics, I know that most of you are, in fact, generally the same age group as myself. And apparently 100% of you are guys. Which is actually pretty amusing because the one thing I was kind of pondering on is, people who would be watching this, would they be the ones reminiscing on their late childhood sort of thing. How do I have a... Okay, no, I'm just being stupid. Because obviously this is like somewhere between the 90s and the noughties, depending on what precisely you count. It seems to be that the answer is yes. Just want to make sure that vehicles can reverse. So you may be interested to hear that, not that it would be difficult to do so, but I got my hands on the original TT, one from the early 90s, and I do actually intend to play it. It's just that when I try to set up DOSBox and OBS and everything else, I don't manage to record an hour of blank. So my intention is to, at some point, finish the other map, because in terms of timings and stuff, that's going to happen in the foreseeable future, whereas this one is obviously very far away in terms of completion. And then once I'm done with that, I could play 100 years on TT. I can tell you, whether or not you've played it, it's different. Like, so many quality of life things just don't exist in TT original. Like, there's no concept of double click. So, for example, if you do that, double click, done. Can't do that in TT. You actually have to click by vehicle, click by vehicle. Diagonal rails are like a tile holding a diagonal rail is basically incompatible with literally anything else, including putting a bridge on top of it. Yeah, it's a lot of weird and wonderful stuff. Okay, how do I want this? I don't so much care about that because, well, I guess I should, given that I have signed myself up for cargo distribution. Otherwise, what's the point? Yeah, there's no any sort of automation with regards to replacing vehicles. There is no, oh, hell. I mean, you know where to find my channel. If you feel like, once I'm done with the other map, the one with the islands and stuff, probably going to be the next one. Do watch it. Also, one of the quite interesting differences is that in OTTD, you plop down the station next to primary industry or anywhere really that produces transportables. Like, if I put down a station here, people are not actually going to show up until I first attempt to take them away. Well, that's not how it works in TT. So you put down a station here, and people do come, whether you're ready or not. Kind of like the names, like as much as they're on PC, I like the names in this map because they play great game on the words, like scary tit. In case you're not familiar, a tit, amongst other things, is a type of bird. Let you infer everything else, of course. While a lot of you are in my age group, I don't want to mark the videos as 16 plus. And again, like gay obviously means some form of happy or jolly. I don't actually, am not fully familiar with the 100-year-old meaning of the word, but you know, you fully understand what I'm talking about. It's just that people's dirty minds that may influence them to think about certain nouns differently or adjectives. There's not much here. Do I actually give a fig? I should not. I don't know why I do. I furthermore don't know why I want to send the bloody term all the way on a wild goose chase. There you go. There's obviously a term here. What would be nice, I said this before, is to have a better town info on, like, just getting some ideas on what proportion of stuff's being carried, much like you have duplicate orders. Well, don't. Like, you know, that information would be nice, because then I could just glimpse at the whole thing, make it sortable on that. I may possibly attempt to stick that in the source code, but it's not my game. As in, it's not my source code, and actually, I am not good at C++. Like, I guess some things are easier than others. So, like, for example, making the depot recognize hotkey S to start everything is not that difficult because a lot of things have hotkeys. So what you do is no, I want it here. You basically look at something that already has hotkeys, which is plenty, and then attempt to take the relevant code, which is a little more complex than that, but not critically more complex. But then again, really, I expect that there should be a possibility to query a town's properties by name. I mean, the usual, how difficult can it be sort of thing. I'll probably have a look at it towards the end of, because, you know, if you look at the industry, whatever it is, yeah, you can sort by production and transported. So there should be a way to get transported for a town. It cannot possibly be that difficult. And actually, what I'm going to do is make you go there. No, I want to keep this. I don't want to keep that. Thing is, though, the guy who maintains the code is obviously, I mean, it's his code, so this is not like, oh, he's evil sort of shit, because he's not. He hasn't so far been open to my ideas, which is entirely his prerogative. Santa Claus. So I could just kind of wipe out all these side roads, but I don't care. Mm, yeah. So then if I go off, I almost pointed with my finger, but if I go off towards here, far away, into the yonder, I can hook into that hotel. I still think X-Lottos were in June. I'll do that, but I shall revamp that station a little. Because the current setup is unideal. Nope. Okay, we have, it will take 10 minutes. So I said coming off there this way, actually I should deal with some of this. Wait. Why not just send a boat? I love the placement there. Like that wasn't me, that was the game. No, not F5, not 5, F5. Okay, we need to do stuff. So I'm going to do it like so. Something ale, hotel, town, hotel, buy, and then town, hotel, good. Mm. Okay, so that still works. Like at some undefined point, the game's going to start meowing because some of the engines, the railway engines that is, will eventually, expire. And then they can't be replaced. Given that we don't have any new wagons, like these are the newest, and there's not going to be a 6th generation. Just want to make sure that I'm not missing out on anything. Right, we're using super heavy. There's no Gen 6. So, like it or not, with regards to train upgrades, we are done. Official middle of nowhere, like. Oh. Okay, so what we'll do here is grab a few of these larger ones and do that. And clone one more and basically, no, I wanted to delete that. Just, oh no. 16 people. Yeah, saw that. There you go. So that covers more or less this whole line. It's going to be a very interesting layout. I'll do this and then it's bye-bye for the episode because we're on 53 minutes right now. So this covers the town, and actually it can loop back, do that, and then come back here. Righty-ho. Well, that's the end for the episode. Thank you for watching. As always, any comments, interactions, likes, subscribes, whatnot, please do, and I shall see you the next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.